Hey guys, it's me, the dude who talks, and welcome. So for today, I'll be going a little into uncharted territory and talking about a genre that I've not really spoke about on here, and that is Dungeon Synth. And I'm talking about the upcoming release from Layr, which is called Vulgord's Tower Soundtrack, which is a soundtrack based on the upcoming video game called Vulgord's Tower. 1, 2, 3, let's fucking go. So Layr is orchestrated by husband and wife duo Rebecca and Brian Magar. The concept for Vulgord's Tower came about 4 years ago, with Brian, with the help of his teenage son, created a 1980s inspired retro fantasy strategy game called Vulgord's Tower, which is deep rooted in fantasy and apparently pays homage to a ton of metal bands. So, yeah, the soundtrack is a bit of a left turn, as Layr's previous work was much more experimental. However, and I'm not well versed in Dungeon Synth, but I've always thought to myself when I've listened to it that this is perfect for like retro fantasy games. So Vulgord's Tower soundtrack comes out on the 29th of May through 11th Key, and the game actually comes out this August through Steam. So the question being, what did I think of Vulgord Tower soundtrack? Did I like it, or will I be sending it to the dungeon for its possible crimes against music? For those who want to know, Vulgord's Tower soundtrack consists of 7 songs and clocks in at 23 minutes. So, let's talk about the first song, which is called Through the Gate, and from the get-go, the whole dark fantasy vibe is there. There's like this use of keys which give it that dense and dingy atmosphere, and it got this image in my head when I was listening to it, like it's this dark level in a video game and there's like only a few candles to light the way. Also, I want to make note of the choral singing as well, which adds to the atmosphere. It's quite haunting, this atmosphere as well, because it's like towards the end of the song there's like this snarling sound which sounds like a monster. So yeah, Exalted by Sorcery managed to bring back some old memories of me when I was a kid, going up to my brother's room and watching play countless hours on like retro video games, like on his Amiga or Spectrum or whatever. I don't know whether it was like the retro sounding keys, but there's also a bit of a feeling of an orchestra as well, as like there's some string sounds and there's like a use of like this timpani drum, I think that's what it's called. There's also like cymbals that give like a crashing sound. It just adds to an epic sound, but there's also a bit of unsettling atmosphere as well, with these like echoey noises, and it really just adds to it. Labyrinthine Ascension mixes a number of sound effects like water drops. There's also this synthesized violin throughout, and it gives it that bleak vibe. And when that takes a break, there's like this processed acoustic guitar melody throughout, and it just feels like dark and dingy. Also, the next song has this much more of like a medieval fantasy vibe, and this song is called The Convivial Traveller, and it's a standout for me because the vibe in it when listening to it made me think of like going to this like town where I'm looking for an inn to save and rest up with my HP, but however I end up talking to NPCs. Here is a sample. Thing else to note on the album as well is the kind of times it steps its toes into black metal, especially these like kind of vocals used in like songs Deep Dungeon, Mystery, and Under the Spell. And when that's used, it's like used to this like creepy effect, and it's pretty decent. So my overall opinion on this, it definitely captures the vibe of an old style epic fantasy game and has the whole unnerving atmosphere down to a T. Sometimes it felt really dense, and that made it for me a challenging listen at times. And if this was longer, it might have been quite headache inducing for me. But it may not be something I'll listen to on a regular basis, but I damn right appreciate it, and I think it's really well done. So that was me talking about Vulgord's Tower soundtrack by Layr. Are you thinking of picking this album up? Please let me know if you are down below in the comments section. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It really helps out. I just want to quickly plug my socials as well, and that's Facebook and Instagram. I'll be including like links there. I'm trying to post stuff there daily on them, so if you want to give them a like and a follow, that's really appreciated. And yeah, that is it for me. I've been the dude who talks. You guys, as always, are fucking awesome. Thank you so much for listening. Cheers.